Okay. Cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
get yourself on the phone. I'll just be on here live. It's really up to you if you want to. I'm trying to see, is it best for you? I mean, I guess either switch your room between the two, right? Between YouTube. I'm about to pin the YouTube link. Go to YouTube, click the link. Let me pin this right here. Let me pin this comment right here. How you pin this comment, man? Comment setting. How do you pin a comment? Oh man, I'm not. Look, I don't. You guys forgive me. I'm about to pin this comment. How do you pin a comment? You know how to pin a comment, brother? I'll talk about these goddamn markets. Let's see. Well, I'm just gonna prioritize your comments. I really wish I could pin this stuff, man. So it's there. Whatever. Okay. I can't pin it, but we're about to go on YouTube. Let's do it. Let's do it. So, you guys see me?
you sharing your screen? Oh no.
Watch my screen right now. I'm gonna try to take it very slow because I think we need to really internalize what happened today and how beautifully Price executed today. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen right now. Um, Let me know if you can hear me on Zoom though.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah. All right, bet. I'm gonna have to change it. Let me put the settings where I can hear you guys too on my microphone. I can't hear you guys. Maybe I can hear you guys now. Cool. Mhm. Let me know if you can see my screen. So we're on YouTube, by the way, guys. So on TikTok, you're just gonna hear me talk about the markets and what happened in price today. But on YouTube, at the Texas Heist, we're actually breaking down the charts. So you can see the charts and what happened today. Today was a perfect day that was able to give us an easy setup. I mean, it was such a layup. It was easy. And I think overall, we've been having the market kind of be tight, right? It's been in this little range back and forth, not really giving us real direction. But today was so clear. And these are days that I want to be executing on the markets. Days like these are days you want to execute. You want to understand how it feels. What are the elements that are in place? So the whole point of this right now is to talk about the elements that are in place so we remember this and burn this into our memory. So therefore, whenever a situation presents itself again, we're able to execute and kill it without hesitation. Because oftentimes the market will present you an opportunity to trade, but doesn't mean it's jade. It doesn't mean it's a real trade. It just means it might be a rigorous setup that might take more mental capital than necessary. When the trade setup is easy and there for you, it's all about just execution, pressing the button, just squeezing, hitting your targets easily. So that's what today presented. It presented an opportunity to really easily execute without stress, without hesitation, if you knew what was going on. So we're gonna break down those elements. So and Valentine and Liquid Extraction. Let me know if you guys hear me on the Zoom so I can
Yes,
keep on
sir. Yes,
going.
sir. Keep
Yeah,
going.
you good, my guy. You
And
good.
I
Sounds
just
good.
checked YouTube. Everything looks good.
Everything is solid, bro.
Sounds good. So we're gonna start off with perhaps the daily chart. So I mean, you can see right now, this is today's price action, right? Today, you can see the sales that are executed here. You can see the exits of my positions, exits. This is beautiful trading. So we're gonna talk about that. So to say the least, We clearly executed on this trade. Executed on this trade is very beautiful, straight to the point. There's actually going to be a review dropped later, an actual full review. This is just a live review. There's going to be a full review dropped later on YouTube. And there's also going to be a video recording of the trade in action. So be on the lookout for that. Probably drop that on the back snatcher page. But for now, we're breaking down the charts right here. So, well, let's talk about it. Let's actually take away all these executions. Let's take them off. And I want us to, perhaps, let me just make a copy of this real quick. And let's talk about why we're even executing in these markets. What makes sense? What was there? What elements present itself? We're going to try to take this on very slow. Because again, if you've been trading indices, you know it's been very, very choppy. Okay? So we're going to take this on slow. Again, you can see the choppiness to the left. Look at all that going on there. A lot. Versus squeeze, clear targets. But we're going to start from when the day started. Let's start right here. So if you look at, one more time. If you look what price was doing prior till today. Price has really just been dancing around. Okay. Well, what price did, and by the way, I'm reviewing this live with you guys. I haven't reviewed this yet. So there's a lot of discoveries that'll be made while you guys listen. So what price did was create a nice swing high on the daily chart. But it's still nonetheless really dancing around. So swing high after running out this full liquidity. I want us to compare this with US 30. Notice how there's a higher time frame. Well, US 30 also ran out these highs as well. So that was nice to see. And then let's see what S&P did. S&P also ran out these highs. So all of them all agreed on the daily chart. On the daily chart, they all ran out July's high. Beautiful. That's one element. And then on top of that, there was a swing high corrected. I mean, in place. Okay. All that is just cool, just good information to know. Now on the 4-hour chart, if you look very closely, going into the day, what do we have here? Just look at these charts. The one thing that presented itself was this clear 4-hour loot zone. When price finally traded below that, it was set in stone that we're likely to run lower to take out these lows. I even called this out in the chat that I had between me, Valentine, and Liquid Extractions. Like, this is probably more likely where we're going to go to take out these lows, because we have a strong element price where price ran, price had covered or ran below this loot zone here. Okay. So, yes. So, and let's just kind of draw that out real quick for a second. If you look right here, look at this 4-hour loot zone right here. When price ran below that, it was, again, my mindset was, let's see how we can run these lows. So it's clear. What you want is a clear thought process on where is price likely to go. Where is there clear liquidity? You want to know where that exists. Okay. And obviously, as we made this run higher, a lot of traders will expect a pullback, then another move higher. Everyone wants to chase the NASDAQ going higher. But what we saw that amplified the reason why I want to be short was, again, this level here being disrespected and then trading back into it and then falling off, right? All right. So let's also look at how that looks on US 30. You kind of see these lows were clear here to probably take. And then S&P, you can also see how, again, it was shaping and showing you where price wants to go. That last swing low price, obvious low, is like where price is going to trade to, because it's already is giving that context. So that was higher time frame context. Let's go on to 1-hour chart. Again, on the 1 hour chart, what we had here was, again, these two levels here. Friday's price action ran again below that 4 hour level. Trade in here, drop, consolidate, right? Again, you can see how clearly, just take off everything from your charts. These lows are just sitting ducks. You can see how this is just more than likely going to get targeted because price already kind of turning around here. Okay. So the 1 hour chart, everything was fine and dandy. Let's also compare. So I'm just constantly comparing. How did 30 look? Right? How did S&P look? Okay, nothing that's outstanding yet. We're gonna get to the stuff that were outstanding that made us really execute on this trade. Then let's go now further deeper. Let's go into actually what happened for today. All right. So this is where price opened up. Typically, I'll start by saying there's one element that's actually off in this trade. One element is actually off in this trade. And that element, you would notice, is going to be price, really time, the opening price. So typically when we're trading, what we like to see and what I like to see is if I'm short, I want to see price trade above the midnight opening price. Take out some liquidity, and then I'll perhaps execute on some shorts there. Or if it doesn't trade above midnight opening price, I want to see that trade above 9:30 opening price. I want to see it above opening price before I go short. That's the whole goal of me, of my execution. I want to be above opening price. But sometimes when it's jade, right, when all that doesn't even matter, just the setup is just clearly there, you have to break that rule. It's not going to happen every single time, but when it's clear as day, when you can feel it, you can tell. We're going to talk about elements that made it easy to tell what's going on. Then it's appropriate to consider breaking those rules of trying to get into treating the opening price, mid opening price, or daily opening price, or night opening price as a this kind of premium or as a level to say we're oversold or overbought. In this case, we weren't near opening price, but it was still worthy of an execution because of we already knew this was likely to get targeted. Okay, so now let's get into a little bit more nitty gritty. Let's go into the 15-minute chart, and you're gonna see this is what was noticed on Nasdaq versus S&P. Okay, so cool. Let me rewind this for a second. So this is right before 9:30 opening price. Those two trades actually took place. Two solid trades today. Maybe more, but two that I was looking at. So if you look at Nasdaq right now, notice what price did at right before 9:30 opening price. It just ran a little higher. Where this high hit, a previous weekly close, as highlighted here, it ran above these highs over here. Ran above these highs over here. And again, his previous weekly close, solid. But let's see what US 30 did. Notice how 30 was all the way over here, but it ran out the previous day's highs. So this is a key element number one. Try to pen here. I need a pen. Key element number one is, forgive me here. I'm getting a pen for a second because this is super important to understand the elements that really drove this trade and made it so easy to execute on. I'm gonna have this whiteboard behind me. Just right on there. Okay. So this. So element number one was we had SMT, right, at previous daily highs. So I might even just type it out actually instead of writing on the board. I'll type it on YouTube. So element number one that we had in price that really made us bearish here was 30 ran out previous high. Meanwhile, NASDAQ was all the way down here. S&P was also all the way down here. And also didn't have any interest in running out previous day's high. But what did S&P do? S&P came very close, but it did get rejected right at the rejection block. So it kind of went close to London sessions highs and then rejected. But NASDAQ had no interest in even wanting to go to those highs. So immediately we have a couple things going on. We have number one, we had again SMT at previous day, and he called it session high. That was one element, right? Number two, what do we have as number two that took place? Okay. Price again did hit a previous weekly close. We'll let that one be. But point is, we actually had right here at 8:30, US 30 was running up higher, and S&P was simply just kind of consolidating. So immediately, seeing that, and seeing that we created this loop zone right at, you see this level? Midnight opening price. Going short here was appropriate. That's trade number one at 9:30. Trade number one. I'm gonna delete this vault here. This vault actually needs to be out of the way. So trade number one, they could have executed on. And I didn't even execute on this one because I did catch some nice longs in euro. But this one was a clear trade as well. But number one, we had a loop zone right here at 9:30 open price. So it's clear as day. Okay? Clear as day that this level was more than likely going to be used to take out these lows because there's a lot of liquidity resting below here. So then what did price end up doing? Let's see. I want to reduce the speed of this. Price ended up, try to make it a little slower. Look at how that happened. It traded into this level. It traded into here at 9:30, immediately rejected. That was trade number one. If you look on the 5-minute chart again, you see that happening. Boom. So this trade actually incorporated midnight opening price, using that as an equilibrium high. Trading above it is a sell-off. You would expect shorts, trading below you expect buys. So initially, this trade did give you the opportunity to execute right here for an expected sell-off. That was nice. How long this trade takes to play out? This is the 9:30 run. Let's actually calculate that. So start at 9:30. It ran for, oh, my mouse is being funny. It's okay. So start at 9:30. It ran for, let's just call it 100 points. So 9:30, within 5 minutes, it ran for 100 points. So that's one thing to also keep in mind. 100 points, 5 minutes. Is it likely to keep on going after running for 100 points in 5 minutes, or is it going to be some type of pullback, right? And what do we see? We see an aggressive pullback right here. It pulled back. Now, a lot of people were also thinking maybe this goes higher because markets have been choppy. We got to keep in mind these were the targets. That's why we always have to have that higher time frame target at the same time. These targets here from Tuesday, August 12th were still in motion. Okay. There's also a day level here that I have highlighted in green. Those levels are in motion, but really liquidity was obviously here. So as much as price pushed lower, it has not hit its primary or major vault. All it did was run out. Yes, it ran out previous days lows, but the major vault was still lower. So we're expecting lower prices still play its role. We're still expecting lower prices. So price was higher, drops here. Let's just take a look at what's happening with 30. 30 still pushing higher. Again, NASDAQ showing no interest in wanting to do that. S&P is showing no interest. So the one that's off is really US 30. Take even a layer further, you have the bond market. This is one that people don't really talk about. But the bond market and NASDAQ are inversely correlated. So the bond market dropped into a key time frame daily level. Let's look at a daily chart for example for a second. Bond market. This is an inverse loop zone on the bond market. So the fact that price hit this level, I'm expecting further longs to probably play out here. So if the bond market is bullish and dollar, if you look at dollar is consolidating, right? It's consolidating slash it's consolidating. That's what dollar's doing right now. It's in this big old range. And the bond market is actually, again, bullish. And dollar actually had a slight consolidation, slight little bit push higher. What does that tell us? Dollar moving a little bit higher, meaning we're in a risk-off scenario, meaning indices are likely to drop. And this is from a higher time frame low. So this is going to continue more likely tomorrow throughout the week. I'm still expecting bearish prices. But dollars continue to go higher, slightly going higher. The bond market's actually going higher. That leaves a recipe for the NASDAQ or indices to actually drop. So when I'm seeing the differences in how US 30 is going higher and S&P is not falling long, NASDAQ is not falling long, US 30 is obviously off one if you're using correlations between all the markets, including the bond market. Okay? You can look at that. So that was a 30-year. Look at the 10-year. The 10-year also looks solid to keep on going higher, right? There's clear highs that the bond market wants to take out. And the 5-year, I believe, also gives us an opportunity. It just took out some lows here, likely to probably make its way higher again. So the bond market is bullish. That's what I'm seeing, and that's why you've seen dollar dropping off so aggressively, or dropping off here aggressively. But now it's in a consolidation pattern. So I really, truly, with a higher time frame perspective, I'm expecting more bearish prices on Nasdaq. But getting back to that understanding. So another key element we're going to add to this again is the understanding that too. Bond market, bullish, DXY, and solid. We're just calling slash slightly bullish, which equals to bearish. So there's two things so far in place I've pointed out. Two strong indicators that we can see when something is jade. Dollar consolidating is slightly bullish with the bond market actually going up in value. Likelihood indices are going to be bearish. So two things: SMT at the previous day's highs or previous session highs, and then we also have the bond market going higher, which leads to an inverse relationship between indices. So those are two strong key indicators to know when something is jade. Okay, and then just look at how the thing is painting. When it's painting so perfectly, when the markets are clearly like you have bullish move here, low drop, low bullish move here, sells like, and then you have bullish move. Like price is painting nicely on the charts. That's nothing you want to see. You want to see nice painting on the charts. And I like seeing when price is painting perfectly. And you're going to see as diving to the lower time frame. So that was one thing. Now, where do we execute? There was a pullback here. See how that pullback look. Boom. And that's where you can use your little support resistance, which I don't really trade, but price pullback here was a clear loot zone, a clear potential sell-off that showed itself. I actually took a screenshot of this and actually sent that to the chat, with me and the syndicates and the Texas Heist. If you don't follow Texas Heist page on TikTok, by the way, follow Texas Heist page. You have a lot coming. But point is, screenshot and say, hey, this is actually going to deliver more shorts because it was so clear. The major vault was still about 120 points away, right? So we see this taking place. And then one thing I want you guys also pay attention to is, if you look at your charts, we were at the 750 level. Look how price consolidated at 750 level, right? So another key element is clear displacement. There's a clear displacement at major major hold number or whatever. What's called hold number. So there's a clear displacement that took place there. If you just were to look at your charts, just have a chart with only numbers on there, just numbers. You see there's a clear displacement at 750 level. And it was right here. Right, 750 is up here. I'm just gonna put a red line. So since we're talking about it, 750 right here. So you can see how clear it looked. 750, look at that. 23, 750. Look how clear price was initially just consolidating here the whole time, bouncing off that level. And then eventually, boom, clear drop off. Next setup to take place here, and you can expect to go to the next quarter level, which is 23,500. So there's so many elements in price that were here. So that's another thing. And then if you look again closely, as price is dropping here, what was, you now see S&P finally falling route, and you see US 30 finally falling route. So that indicated that we're all on the right page. And then let's go to the 5-minute chart real quick to kind of even see. So now on top of that, if you go on a 5-minute chart, we also had another SMT. This is when the execution actually took place. All the other elements were just confirmation. This is clear as day. The only question I could literally ask myself is, am I in big enough? When that's the only question you can ask versus worried about if you're going to lose a trade, that's how you know you're holding trade. When it's so clear in your mind, like, yo, where am I in deep enough? If I'm not in deep enough, I need to add to this position. And it was so clear, so obvious that this was likely to take place, that the only question I could again ask was, do I have enough contracts on the table? That's how I knew I was holding J, right? That's how I knew the trade was actually set up was there. Look how, again, it's painted on a 5-minute chart. Every bearish candle has a bullish candle that respects it. It was painted picture perfectly. Now, another thing, so as 9:30 took place, there's a 9:30 drop. The next trade setup took place at 10. So the first 30 minutes is your first trade. 9:30, we had a drop, boom, boom, boom. That move was done at 9:45, so about 15 minutes. Now, how many minutes? So we had a 15-minute drop, right? Then we had how many minutes of pullback? About 20, 25-minute pullback. So 15-minute drop. It took about 20 minutes of it retracing. But when this retracement happened and took place, what you also notice is there was another SMT that popped up. And the execution, again, I was very patient, still on my hand. I was waiting. So let me see how 10 o'clock prints. Why 10 o'clock? That's the next 4-hour candle. That's the start of that candle. So it's important to pay attention to how each high forms within that 4-hour candle, all the way down to a lower time frame. So I didn't need to see a run above these highs. If you look very closely on S&P, right? This was, yeah. So S&P ran higher at 10 o'clock. It ran and cleared out the whole high of the day at 9:30. I mean, at 10 o'clock. Meanwhile, again, NASDAQ is still showing you, hey, I don't even have energy to go higher. Zero energy to go higher. I can't run this high right here. 30, same thing. So, like, you can see how NASDAQ was kept on showing you constantly, I am weak. I have nowhere to go. I'm weak. I want to drop lower. There's clear liquidity again. Major faults to resting below. All this SMT taking place price. And look at this. This little loop zone here, right? This is how beautiful price is moving in a direction, moving as it should. Then you're going to see everything just line up. And today was one of those days. So we had an SMT here. Look at this little 5-minute loop zone. Look how price just traded up, down, like how it printed right in that level and dropped aggressively. Let's go to that 1-minute chart so you can see deeper. Look at that 1-minute chart. It traded a little higher into this 1-minute loop zone. Failed to take out these highs. Look at this little high right here formed, 10:05. So that was the first swing high formed at 10 o'clock. Then price slightly runs it higher. Boom. That's a run. It's not really a run on liquidity, but again, if we're doing it based off an algorithm, it's a run on a swing high. So in my mind, it triggers something algorithm, right? Whether that's true or not, that's just how I view it. So swing high created. Then we have a run on that swing high, 10:09. Perfect. That's the first run on the high at 10 o'clock hour. The price drops lower, trades a little higher, respected the 5-minute loot zone. So I was already executing sells right in here. I didn't get in full position. I kept on adding as price dropped lower, and I saw how it was respect. It was just so clear. It was obvious. It's just respecting every single thing. So I added some more positions over here, and we finally had that sell off. And we had a little run above these highs right here. But again, no worries. There was another loot zone right here. And price sold off aggressively and aggressively, and then kept on dropping till I was satisfied with price at this level. So it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful setup there that we had. SMT again. And if you look even closer here, right? Let's compare 1005 to 10. Let's call it 1010 on S&P. I want you guys to see something real quick. 1005 to 1010. See right here? There's also slight SMT. You probably won't even notice it at all. But if you're using the mindset of the 10 o'clock hours, it's another candle on its own. Is there any SMT that takes place within that candle? With the already context that we have, the price drop lower. It's a beautiful thing. So when I saw there was SMT here as well, I was like, oh yeah, this is a strong trade. It's picture perfect. I can feel it. Everything makes sense. Price dropped exactly to its level. So this is a clear, clear winner. And I think like there's really just three things in place again, guys. SMT at previous day's high and session high. Important. If you can wait for only those setups, excellent. The bond market showed it's bullish. DXY is consolidating. And thirdly, we had a clear displacement at a major whole number level with the fact that there was major liquidity still resting below. And if you want to add a fourth one, algorithmically, the way I saw it was at 10 o'clock hour, there was run liquidity or run on a high, swing high that we now see on the S&P 500. And that was why I executed and added to my position. Felt very confident that price is going to drop lower, and I put in as much confidence as I possibly could. So that was really the whole summary on this trade, man. It was really an excellent, excellent, excellent trading condition, man. I don't know if the syndicates want to add anything to that.
That was beautiful, man. I didn't catch the sale on Nasdaq, but I caught it on 30, so I'm gonna break that down later. But days like this is like you said, it's when do I have enough contracts in? Because you got to capitalize on these days, especially when the market's been so choppy for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, man, it's been a good 3 weeks of hockey puck back and forth nonsense. So when days like this happen, you do have to be in a position to capitalize. It doesn't matter if you have been caught up in chop or have overtraded or have taken losses. Days like this make it able for you to just remember that there are easy days, and when the easy days come, you just have to be able to execute precisely. That's pretty much
Yes,
it.
I agree, man.
Precisely.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh well, yeah. It's just the more you execute in horrible conditions, it could mess up your mental capital. So when days like this come along, you may not be in position to actually take advantage of stacking contracts or multiplying positions and having a very tight risk to reward and still be able to come out positive because the trade runs aggressively in the direction it's supposed to. So that's
Yeah,
about it.
and I think I really think that that's why it's important to like really, really like dial in on like precision, like because a lot of times like throughout the week, Price wasn't really presenting anything strongly. Like all this price action was very ugly. Maybe Friday gave something cool, but like Monday really was trash. So like if you look at Monday, like look at the difference. Just literally no displacement on Monday.
I can't remember a trade that I took last week. Like just the quality. So I can't remember a
Yeah,
trade that I was just, oh, I have to take this trade.
yeah, it's crazy, man. Um, it's crazy, but I do think like knowing because when I was in the trade, bro, like I literally could feel like just the way everything was moving, I could just feel like yeah, this is obviously it was like obviously this is where this is trying to be. It was zero questions, and that feeling is like especially like I said, we've been in a choppy condition for the past like week, 2 weeks. It's really been not as clear. And this was just one where it finally gave up the ghost. Say, you know what, we're finally dropping. I don't care what Trump is doing with the terrorists. I don't care, what the sentiment is. We're gonna move price lower. And it was just like so important to know, like, sit on your hands. Like I said, if you're trading choppy conditions, if you're trading in choppy conditions the whole time, you're not gonna have the mental capital to
Yeah.
execute whenever price actually gives you clarity on the charts.
Yes. Trading in choppy conditions is a very, 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 very bad thing to do. You'll mess up your whole thought process.
It's not even worth it. Like after like a trade like this, it just makes you realize like trying to squeeze the juice. And if you're gonna trade in choppy condition, number one, reduce your risk aggressively. Like your risk should be reduced 100%. And then two, it's about being satisfied. Because one thing I was telling you guys about, and we've had discussions on this privately, is like, and the choppy conditions, like I've been wanting to see more, and price has not been giving me more, right? Like I've been wanting, I'm like maybe it goes here, hopefully it goes here, but today I was like, no, it's going to go here. So it's like a clear difference as to like, yeah, as much as I always like to see more, there are days I know it's choppy, but then my mindset goes, well, maybe it delivers lower prices versus price is choppy. If I'm going to trade this condition, I need to appreciate and take any little liquidity that the price hits, take something off the table, go to break even, move to the fucking sidelines. There's no need to play around. But they like this, execute, hold it as long as you can, let price drop, and then get out at the right positions. You just gotta know when it's Jade. You gotta know it has to be clear. That displacement has to be clear. There has to be no question. I think trading has been like diluted to like trading every single day. We have all these prop firms, obviously, that you want to sit there and try to pass challenges as quick as you can. But the reality of things is the biggest hedge funds are making like 30% at most 40% of a year. There's no need to execute as much as I know we do, but it's a mindset I feel like we it's not the healthiest for everyone. Um, it's really about waiting for Jade. And if you're gonna trade every day, understand that out of every single day, you can't expect to have a home run every single day. There's gonna be days where it's gonna be very choppy, days where prices drops 20 points, 30 points, 50 points. Take it a run. Today was a 400-point day. Great. How does it look? We just identified it. We saw the run on previous day's highs. We saw the SMT. We saw what's going on in the bond market. We saw what's going on with the dollar. Clear displacement. So that's exactly where our head needs to be versus trying to trade every single day. If you're going to do that, cut your risk as much as you can.
Agreed, 100%. Agreed, 100%. And it's really just not even worth it. Like it's just not worth it. The best days are sometimes the days we don't even press buttons, bro. Because mental capital is way more expensive than taking a monetary loss. Way more expensive. And
Yeah.
that's something you learn through experience. You don't learn that through somebody telling you that. So if you can avoid just losing in general and just protecting yourself, I would just not press buttons, man. Because there ain't nothing wrong with not losing money. Ain't nobody ever got mad at not losing no money.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing to do though in trading is really that patience. Like most people are just impatient, and you know it's kind of unfortunate, but society around us today kind of increases the reason why we are impatient. We have Uber, so we call it taxi anytime. We have Uber Eats, we get food anytime. We got freaking microwaves. You know what I'm saying? We got
Yep.
what was that?
I say, yep, yep.
Yeah, we have dating apps, right? You don't gotta meet people in real life. You just go on a dating app and find someone. We have all kinds of stuff that increases the reason why we are impatient in today's society. Instagram, all kinds of bullshit, you know. So we have to really consciously fight that battle of wanting to execute on every single thing. We have to understand when it's time to dial it back. That's the most important thing. Dial it back are literally don't press a button. Don't press a button. Don't press a button whenever the markets are not giving um giving you Jade, and you gotta know what Jade looks like. And we just showed that today. So if you're on TikTok Live, by the way, guys, we're on YouTube at the Texas Heights. Follow that page, subscribe to the channel. We'll have more discussions about these markets every single day because it's a live and breathing environment, and we need to discuss what's happening, especially when it's a day like this. I know a lot of trades have been getting chopped up, but today the market's finally loosened up, and we'll see if that continues going into the rest of the week. But my thoughts are I want to stay bearish, but obviously it's just one day of the market's dropping. And with the way the markets have been operating, I'm carefully, you know, I'm bearish, but if something bullish pops up again, I'm probably gonna be on the sidelines because I just want to have Jade. I want to trade Jade only. These markets are tough, and we want to trade Jade only. Let's see how 30 was even dropping here. Let's see. Gold is gold doing.
Well, everything moved beautifully in one direction today.
Euro.
You know, I got chopped up in Euro today, man. I got stopped. I said, yeah, this is too slow for me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, once Euro ran out these highs, funny enough, so I was in buys and I got out, but I also had like some sales set up by mistake. So I was in sales that were in profit, but I closed out. I said, hell no. Like, I just, but it delivered clearly too, like a nice little market maker sell model yeah, it was nice delivery still. So again, it just goes back to that bond market and the dollar relationship, in my opinion. Bond market up, dollar consolidating, risk off. I know that's one that's historically we don't talk about the bond market, but that's something I've been really on the low, just watching how the relationship between the bond market, you know, and the dollar, and then using that to kind of give me an idea. If you look very closely, the bond market a lot of times too is correlated with currencies. So it's a lot of things to study there. But you can see like how pound in the bond market kind of see almost a correlation there. But that's a whole nother topic for a different day. Yeah, it's topic for a different day. So we're probably gonna see again, in my opinion, I'm watching the bond market with the thought process that the bond market is gonna keep going higher. And we can obviously see these clear highs right here is probably going to take. There's lows here. Let's see this SMT that took place real quick though. No SMT, so we'll see. Yeah, there's no SMT at the lows. So we'll see. I mean, maybe price immediately runs below here on one of them on the bond market, but I'm watching the bond market, man. I want to see this thing go higher. I do. I do want to see this thing go higher. It already took out a little pull right here. I think we can hit this pull. So it did damage Monday, Tuesday at least. So we'll see if it wants to make go higher. If that's the case, Nasdaq. How far Nasdaq do you guys think Nasdaq can go?
300.
Right.
To where?
300.
Oh, below these lows right here. I can see that. I can see that.
That's where I would like price to go.
Yeah. Maybe get some type of pullback. Yeah, I can see that happening. But I'll be very cautious. Honestly, I think it goes all the way here. Funny enough. I think eventually 22,800 might get traded. But that's a long shot, but I can see 22,800. And this could be the turn of the markets. We'll see. We'll see if that's the case, bro. We'll see if it fully turns around. Again, bond market, if bond market is gonna go higher, if it's gonna go higher, it has a nice daily liquidity to go to. So if we're comparing the two, we could see Nasdaq take out these lows, maybe. So that's kind of where my head is too. I'm not gonna be buying shit. Only way I'll buy is if we trade back above this loot zone here. In fact, above, we gotta go back to 23,750. If we go over there, I'm gonna buy. But and then above right here, I'm showing that shit to these lows right here. Excuse my French.
Solid numbers.
Yeah. Well, that's it on my side. I don't know, I'm I'm hungry as heck. I'm not eating today.
Let's see. I'll give a quick breakdown.
What was that?
I'm gonna give a quick breakdown.
Yeah. Quick question though. Um, so how like is this going to be recorded? It's
Yeah.
live stream already, so it's gonna be on YouTube.
Yep.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. That works. All right, guys. I mean, should we call it a day?
Yep.
I mean, hey man, that was a good presentation, bro. We did that. It was concise, straight to the point.
That's perfect. Well, let's call it a day. So, the Texas Heist again. You guys follow the page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Texas Heist. We have a lot more coming. If you want to be part of Discord, we're giving free game at the moment. Join the Texas Heist. The markets are. I think the bank is back open. I think the vault is moving now. So we have a lot again, guys. Look at this. If price really starts dropping into this level, we have a nice move here that we can see price go to. So
And we
uh,
will also definitely be back to see if price eventually reaches the 23,300 level.
100%, I can see that. I can. That to me is one of those like no brainers. Like
Yep.
the only thing is, does it do it now versus doing it at the time when you can execute? You know what I'm saying?
hmm
That's the only thing I'm just like,
I wanted that 23,000, and I have a feeling it could do that over the night.
no, I don't know. All the way 23.
Yeah,
I might see that happen eventually for
maybe
sure.
for London.
Yeah,
And you
I
know
can
how
say
it was like 2 weeks ago, bro. We could hold all night long, and everything would be fine.
Facts. No, I see 30 dropping overnight.
Cause last night it was supposed to drop. It just I don't know. I don't know. It was just doing whatever it wanted to do. But now that we've already got that big distribution candle,
Yeah, true.
yes, sir. Well, we'll get to it. Let's see how that works, man. But I do agree with you with dropping below here. I just hope it's gonna be tradable. The good thing is this: look, if it takes these lows out and pulls back, as long as it's not below here during 9:30 opening price, I'll still target those lows, man. Because as long as it doesn't run it in the real regular trading hours, I'll still go for these lows. It has to run it during those hours. So that'll be my mindset. Unless it's all the way down here. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. So we'll see. But I think, man, it is going for it already.
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm. Telling
30
you,
dropping overnight, man.
it wants it.
Man.
Yeah, 30 looks good. I would like to see 30 run higher. I just want to see some SMT, like something like we saw today. I'll be
We're
excited.
already down 80 points. That's crazy.
No,
S&P
bro.
500 is good too, man. S&P runs in here. And the major vault is still down here on S&P, so
And,
it's
and then Nasdaq already had his Asia run up at 9 o'clock. Well, 8 o'clock specifically. Where it already ran back up. So it should just trade lower, bro. Honestly.
I won't be
Ironic.
surprised.
It's ironic.
Well, guys, I'm gonna cause one thing out. Your boy is hungry. I ain't on phone with you. I'm about to go kill this steak curry that I got
Uh,
from this restaurant, man. I'm about to eat good.
I'm finna go get some tacos.
Now I know
You,
tacos. I mean, over here eating steak curry, but I got eating tacos, man.
yeah, I'm finna
Making
go
me
get
sad.
some tacos, man.
Ozzy boy, what you eating, man? You gonna tell me some popcorn? What you eating, bro?
No, I made a homemade hamburger earlier.
Okay,
So,
hamburger tacos, same boat. I don't care. It's steak, man.
Man,
Nah,
finna go
we
get
gonna
that
talk about guys.
carne asada.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah,
Let's
we'll
talk. We're
get
gonna
on.
talk, brother. Y'all
All
be
right,
easy, man.
fellas. Yes, sir.
you exit this thing, man. Exit. Yo, my shit's tripping. How the heck? Okay, there you go.
All right. Well, they just dropped off. I still got some time though, man. Don't trip, man. I still got a little bit of time. Just show a little something, man. Yeah, see my screen. Let's do this right here. All right, so real quick, man, on US 30, get my screen real quick. All right, cool. All right, so real quick on US 30, as you can see, I'm bearish right now. We have this high that we took out, and with that high that we took out, we now created this daily loot zone. Okay, so look at the logic right here. All right, so we had this big from low to high, had this big expansion. We now came down, made a low. We now made a high, so we took out this high. And once we took out that high, what happened? You saw that the sellers started to come in. The price now dropped all the way into this monthly loot zone, taking out this low right here. So we now took out this low and we've closed back above it, bullish engulfing. And then once again, we went up and we took this high. Okay. But as you can see, we failed to close below it. So now price was consolidating for a long time within this area. Okay. But you can now see that we're breaking down and there's a high probability that price can come poke into this daily loot zone. Okay. So that was giving me the confirmation for sales earlier this morning. And then on the 4 hour, you can see that. So now on here, on the 4 hour, see that we have this 4 hour loot zone. Okay. And once again, the drawn liquidity is this low right here and this daily loot zone. Okay. And then you can really see that from this low, we had this big push up. Okay. And no real higher low was really presented. It was one big expansion swing. So whenever I see that, I like to do my fib from low to high. And with my fib from low to high, I like to now target this 50%. Okay. This 50% is your equilibrium. Okay. So whenever you have a big expansion swing, okay, this now becomes your dealing range. And that 50% price likes to come in here to rebalance itself. Okay. And this 50% lines up with this daily loot zone beautifully. Okay. So now with that, as you can see earlier, the back snatcher was talking about the cells on NQ and how he was looking at 30 and using that as some confirmation. Okay. Now let's review what happened. Okay. So you can see Monday's price action was really just consolidation. Okay. Consolidation, nothing really to do. Okay. However, the drawn liquidity was still lower because of this daily loot zone down here, this red shaded area. And now you can now see how we had these lows right here and price failed to take it out during Monday. We now came here. This was around the London session. We now took it out during London session, went all the way up into the daily loot zone, took out this high before now we finally started breaking back down. So now we can most likely see price getting down to this low. Okay. So let me just go to the 5 minute and the replay. Okay, now let's go to the 5 minute. All right, cool. So let's review this price action down here. So right here, we had this low that was taken out, which was Monday's low. Okay. And because we didn't close below it, that gives us a flashbang. Okay. But now from there, you can see price go all the way up. We had this area right here that was using price, holding price as resistance. Okay. Okay. This is resistance. So once we now took out, so this is one important thing. Whenever you are trading range, all you simply want to do is just mark out the range low and the range high. Okay. Price made price comes down to really from this high to this low. Let me do that. Really something like this. From this high to this low, you see we stayed in a range. Okay. So whenever you're trading range, you simply just want to wait for price to take out to one end of the range and then trade it to the opposite end of the range. So once we now finally took this out, you can see that's when we had finally a clean movement to break out of this range. And once we close above it here, so this right here is 830 open, NYSE open, that now pushed price all the way up. Okay. But as you can see, price started to break down, and the back snatcher said Nasdaq and S&P were not running as high as US 30. Okay, so US 30 was the only one that was acting off. So once 30 started finally to drop, it was just clear. It was very clean. Okay, and anticipated. So my entries were somewhere over here. What I like to do, or how I like to trade reversals, is I like to wait for a loot zone that supported price higher to get inversed. And once retested, I now use that and trade it to the opposite end. So we have this loot zone right here, this 1 minute loot zone that price poked into and pushed higher. So once we now started going and breaking down, okay, we now closed below it. We came back and bearish engulfing, and then from there, the rest was history, okay? And we now had a clean drop, okay? So I believe, let me see. Where are my entries? Okay, so here are my entries. Okay, so I think I did miss this entry up here, but I ended up getting an entry in this 15-minute loot zone. Okay, so on the 15 minute, over here, we had this 15-minute loot zone. So once price, I was anticipating price to close below it over here. So on the 5 minute, once I now saw this and price started going bearish, I went ahead and took an impulse entry with my stop loss above this candle's high, going to target the lows. I believe I missed this entry up here on the 1 minute due to work. Okay. Well, you can see that the concept is still the same. Even though I missed this entry up here, I was now able to get into this entry over here by just simply following institutional order flow. And once again, having that same logic that, US 30 is the only one that was running higher. NASDAQ and ES were dropping. So once US 30 finally peaked and started to drop, that's a safe sell, that 30 is going to drop at least all the way down here to where it first started buying. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, would have got an entry there, and then would have went ahead and taken your entry, and then we can see the clean price action. Okay, so I went ahead and TP once price got to around 45,000 flat. Okay. So now this is current price action. So you can see all this did was come into this loop zone right here on the 15-minute. And you can see how that presented another entry. So once the price gets in the loop zone, you want to see how it's reacting. Big rejection, bearish, 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 bearish. There's a high chance that price can probably go test these lows. So this would have been something safe to enter to test this, which is a 3-to-1. Target the next low, almost a 4.5-to-1. And once you target that daily loop zone, that's your 6-to-1, okay? So we'll see if price gets here tomorrow. Okay, we'll see if price gets here tomorrow. And put a vault like this. And just set an alert over here. Okay. So clean price action on US 30. Just like we're discussing with back snatcher. Days like this is when you want to go ahead and make sure you're getting the most bang for your buck, especially since price has been choppy these past few weeks. But with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end this, and then I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one.